Hello, I'm Mr. Herman. I coach girls. Excited to do a problem with you here for algebra honors with Mr. Junjunwala. So, it's a little bit bright.
It'll focus.
Okay, it'll focus in a second. So the question here, we're talking about honors unit 7, opener number 2. If we know that the visible is recording, right?
Yep.
Okay. Getting better.
Does that work?
Sure. If we know that the visible universe is, let me see, oh, this is a big number. I gotta think about back to grad school when I learned about really big numbers. 1 non-gatillion, 124 octokillion, 527 septangillion, 860 sesquitillion, 584 quingentillion, 463 quadrillion, 806 tricentillion, 856 ducidillion, 795,364,283, and Mr. J actually told me just now that you will have to memorize those large numbers. Light years, cubic light years. A light year is actually distance, not a measurement of time, in spite of the fact that it has year. It's actually the distance that light can travel in 1 year. So it's a fairly far distance, and this universe is a fairly large universe. We want to know about how many cubic centimeters are in a cubic light year. So here we're going from cubic centimeters to cubic light year. Well, let's consider, for instance, a different problem, and that is the problem of how many cubic inches are in a cubic foot. Let's use some dimensions that we're a little bit more comfortable with. So if I have a cubic foot, which is 1 foot by 1 foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not being as precise as I could be, but we'll get the idea that a cubic foot is made up of a whole bunch of cubic inches. Each of these dimensions on the cubic foot is 12 inches. So if we take this corner piece, that's 1 cubic inch. We have another cubic inch here, another cubic inch here, and if we want to convert cubic inches to cubic feet, it's not simply saying, well, there are 12 cubic inches in a cubic foot, because there are 12 just on this first row. In fact, on this whole side here, there are 12 times 12, there are 144 cubic inches just on this side. So there are quite a few cubic inches in 1 cubic foot. If we think about, there's 144 on this face, and this face goes 12 deep because this dimension is 12 inches as well. There's actually 144 times another 12, which is 1,728. So if we consider how many cubic inches are in a cubic foot, we're actually taking one dimension this way, one dimension this way, one dimension this way, and we're doing 12 cubed, 12 to the 3rd power. Now we're going to do a similar process to figure out how many cubic centimeters are in a cubic light year. So if we make a similar diagram for a cubic light year, we know that this dimension is 920 blah 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 blah. It's this whole distance right here. So is this one, and so is this one. So we have this large number for this dimension, this large number for this dimension. So on this one surface of this cubic light year, we have this many cubic centimeters squared. But again, just like for the cubic foot, we have this many layers of that number. So we're going to take this large number, and just like we did to convert from cubic inches to cubic feet, rather just to what we did to figure out how many cubic inches are in a cubic foot, we're going to take this number and we're going to cube it. So I've got my calculator here. I'm going to type in 920323412857221. I'm going to get 9.203234128E17. So that is our answer. I didn't cube it yet. Thank you. This is when I hit enter. This is simply the number re-expressed. So I guess this is a good point to reflect on what that number actually is. When you hit 5, for instance, in the calculator, it just spits out 5. If you don't give any operation, it's just the same number. It's just the same number. So when I hit this number and I hit enter, it didn't change the value of the number, but it changed how that number was expressed. So instead of giving me a big number that is how many characters? 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Instead of giving me something that's 18 digits long, it gave me this decimal, and then with this e to the 17th at the end. Now, if we this whole idea is referring to this a different way to represent, a different notation to represent very large numbers or very small numbers, and that's scientific notation. Turns out this E17 represents how many times we multiply this number by 10 to get our actual number. If you recall, when you multiply a number by 10, it's equivalent to moving the decimal place over by 1. So if we take 9.2 and we move the decimal place over 17 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, 17 times, we're going to get that number. So it's just a nicer way to express very large numbers, scientific notation. So, as Mr. J reminded me, there's a reason why he teaches at Evanston. He's a very brilliant, smart, hard-working, which is more important than smart or brilliant, man. We need to take this number, and I can just hit second entry to get this number back. We're going to take this number, and we're going to cube it, multiply it by itself 3 times. Just like we did when we had 12 and we cubed 12 to figure out how many cubic inches can fit in a cubic foot, we're going to multiply this large number by itself 3 times to figure out how many cubic centimeters fit in a cubic light year. And that number is 7.79509 and so on. But not just so on, we're actually going to write this e to the 53 a special way, times 10 to the 53. Like I mentioned, this 53 represents how many times we're multiplying this number by 10. Another way of thinking about that is how many times we move this decimal place over. So really this isn't just 7.795, it's 7.795 and a lot more numbers because we're multiplying this by 10 to the 53rd. We're expressing this very large number with a relatively small set of digits because the notation is so helpful that way. About how big is the visible universe? So here we're taking, this is 7.795 times 10 to the 53 centimeters cubed. That's how many fit in 1 light year cubed. And I think this is important because there's so many numbers rolling around, and I usually like to, specify what my numbers mean. This number represents how many cubic centimeters fit into 1 light year, and we have quite a few cubic light years. We have this many, the number that I so eloquently described at the beginning of this video. This many cubic light years is in the entire universe. So if we have this many cubic light years, and within each one, this many cubic centimeters fit into each cubic light year, we need to take this number and multiply it by this number. So basically, we want 7.795 times 10 to the 53rd this many times. So I've already got this on my calculator. I'm going to multiply this to 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 2, 7, 8, 6, 0, 5, 8, 4, 4, 6, 3, 4, 3, 6, 8, 5, 6, 7, 9, 5, 3, 6, 4, 2, 8, 3. And I get 8.7658 times 10 to the 83. So this means 8.7658 times 10, 83 times. Times 10 times 10 times 10, 83 times. So this is actually a very large number, and this represents centimeters cubed. That's how big the visible universe is.
How big is that number, Mr. Chairman?
Well, that number is rather large. It is bigger than the number of people on Earth, in fact. So each person has more than 1 centimeter cubed of space in the universe, if we were to divvy it out evenly. These large numbers might seem sort of obscure, or why do we deal with these? One of my friends who is a graduate student actually discovered the largest black hole in history, and I believe that was something like some number times 10 to the 42 grams. Something like that, something within that vicinity. It was like, let's just say 4.5 times 10 to the 42 grams. So to give a reference, these are like, sometimes we call these numbers astronomical because they're literally used in astronomy a lot because the magnitude is so large. And when we're dealing things with like the size of the universe or the mass of a black hole, we need really, really large numbers to represent those things. Hope you enjoyed this problem and continue your education.